Well, welcome everybody to our Monday night meeting place call on April 22nd. Wow, we're almost in May already. I saw a nice picture today from one of my dear friends, Heather Lemke, with about 2,000 geese in front of her in her backyard today. So we know with all the geese around and back in the area that spring is definitely in the air. And so with that being said, I think it puts everybody in pretty good moods when spring is back in the air again. And I know I certainly am for our guest speaker at our meeting place tonight. Judy Lee is our guest speaker tonight. And Judy Lee has been around the Vox Life Super Patch business for quite some time. She's an original gangster, I think, too, just like me, and has been here for quite some time and has trained before. And it's always a treat to have Judy on. She's very, very calm. She's a delight to talk to. And Judy is a certified Canfield trainer and has been doing this. She's trained in workshops before on vision boards and different things. So tonight I'm really excited for Judy to be here because I'm really curious to see what this topic is all about, called Open Your Box, Finding Empowerment Beyond Limits. So I'm really excited to hear this training. So if you're ready, folks, get pen in hand and pad of paper and take many notes as you can. And so without further delay, it's my pleasure to introduce my friend and business partner, Judy Lee. Judy, welcome.
Thanks, Terry. And thank you to you and Paul for hosting this Monday night meeting place. It's always a safe place to come for learning and training and sharing and just seeing the rest of the Super Patch family. So thank you for all that you do.
You're welcome. Thanks. That's nice to say.
Yeah, so I hope everybody has their pen and their paper in hand. We're going to be talking about boxes and lists and really creating a life that we love and a dream life that we can step into. And I love how you mentioned about spring, because spring is on everyone's mind. I think we have a beautiful day here in central Alberta. It's sunny, it's really windy, so I'm sure it's taking all the moisture out of our ground, but that's okay. And I just love the spring season. It's all about growth, it's all about renewal, it's all about change, it's all about spring makeover. You know, I always feel like I want to get in and clean out my cupboards and clean out my closets and give some stuff away and just really start making room for the new. So that's kind of what we're going to be talking about tonight. Just that season of growth and change, and how we sometimes get that wall of fear will come up often, and help us to just move through that and accept the change and keep on going. So yeah, and you talked about the length of time being in Vox Life, and I was thinking about our original first conference in Vegas with Eric Worre, and how it's really stuck with me what he said. And you know, you hear so many other people talk about this, but 90% of success in business, especially in network marketing, but I really believe success in life is all about our mindset. So if we can be aware of what we're thinking about and what we're feeling, that really can help to change our life and change our business and what we're thinking about and what we're doing as a result of that. And we always hear too, what we think about, we bring about, and what we focus on really does expand. So it really makes a difference. And along that same line, I was listening to Ed Milet today, and he really said about the same thing. 90% of what we do, what we think about, what we create in our lives happens in our subconscious mind. And we only really do today what we did yesterday because it's just there and it's programmed into our mind, and we have that story that keeps running in our mind. And then he said 80% of whatever is going on in our mind is actually negative thoughts, negative belief, and that negative story that we have going on in our mind. And so we have a huge job in front of us to change what we're thinking about, change what we're choosing, changing the decisions that we make every day, whether that's in our business, in our life, in our relationships, in our family. So we really have to become aware of what we're thinking about, what we believe, and the actions that we take every day, because that's really how we change the way we live our life. So a couple weeks ago, I was on a podcast with my dear friend Kirsty she lives in the UK, and we were talking about courage and confidence and how we really have to flex our courage muscle when we get into challenging situations. Otherwise, sometimes we're meant to sit back and just wait and have that time to do things differently. But a lot of times we really have to build our confidence, build our courage, and really step into those challenges that come up in life and just keep going. And so, if you can visualize this with me, as she's speaking and as we're talking, I can see in my mind a lady, and she's standing in front of a body of water. Maybe it's a pond or a lake. And maybe it was me. I don't know. I couldn't see her face, but she's wearing kind of a caramel colored jacket, long jacket. And I think it's springtime because it's quite dark there. And beside this person is a box, just a cardboard box, and it's sitting on the ground beside her. And I kind of thought to myself when I saw this image in my mind is that, that box represents the things that we carry around in our subconscious mind that we don't really even recognize, that are just there. They're just there. We pick them up and we take them wherever we go. And I think often in that box are things that aren't even ours, that don't belong to us, that maybe belong to someone else in our family or maybe a previous generation, that we just pick up that box and we carry it with us. And after some time, that box starts to get a little bit heavy, but we carry it because that's just what we do. And so if you can think about, if this was your box and you could think about what was in that box, and sometimes when we know maybe what's limiting us, what our fears are, it's easier to think about some of the things that we want to create to make our life richer and enrich our life and have better experiences. So if that was your box that you were looking at and you opened up the box, what would you see in there? What type of fears would you see? I think a lot of us, I know for me, I have, when I'm presenting the product and the patches, and sometimes we have that fear of rejection, that people are going to reject me for whatever reason, that, and that's kind of in my mind before we even start a conversation. And maybe it's the fear of not knowing enough. Maybe I feel like I don't know enough about the products, that it holds me back from sharing that with other people. And maybe I just have some beliefs around business, and I have some beliefs around money, and maybe I have some beliefs around what I do every day that kind of just hold me back from pursuing the best life that I can have. And maybe I have some unhealthy habits. Maybe I have some unhealthy eating habits. And think about maybe some of the fears that you have that hold you back. And maybe you have some negativity going on there. And a lot of us have a stressful life. Maybe we have some anxiety. And maybe we have relationships in our life that aren't supportive. And so if we were to think about these things in this box and how that affects us, and what would we be doing if we didn't have some of those things in our box? And sometimes we just keep that lid on that box so tight that we can't see what's in there. But sometimes we take a look in there and we can see some of the things. And on the other side of that, we can see something that we would rather be experiencing. And so if we picked up that box full of all of these things that maybe just aren't serving us right now, and all of the stress and all of the sleep that we're losing and some of the worries and loneliness, all of the hard work, and maybe in our box we can see some little boxes, and these little boxes are wrapped in sandpaper. And sometimes these little boxes that are wrapped in sandpaper, we just don't want to pick up. They don't feel good. You know what it feels like when you get fingernails on sandpaper? It's really gritty and scratchy and feels awful. We don't want to look at that. So we keep the box closed. We keep the lid on it really tight until we look at it another time. And that time we're able to pick up those little boxes that are wrapped in sandpaper, and we're gradually able to unwrap these little boxes wrapped in sandpaper. And once we get the wrapping paper off the sandpaper off of it, we let that wrapping paper go in the wind. And what we're left with is a beautiful gift that we've finally been able to unwrap. And I know when I open these gifts after years, sometimes it takes me a long time to unwrap those. It is often a gift that I can carry with me and carry forward. And it's often for me a gift about compassion for other people, about empathy for others, about holding space for other people without judgment, and just about loving other people unconditionally. So I think we're always learning from some of the experiences that we have in life. Once we can get that sandpaper off those little boxes. And so when we've taken good inventory of this box, and we can pick it up and let it go, let some of it go in the wind, let some of it float on down in the water and have it just float away. Get our hand into this box and dig into the corners and make sure all those nasty little lurkers are out of there. Some of them are going to stick around, but we can get rid of most of them and just let them go. And in this season of growth and change, what would we choose to put in our box? If we could choose anything and make decisions about how we want to be living our life, what would we choose to be putting in that box? I choose a whole bunch of love. I choose my grandchildren all the time. They're so wonderful. They're so fun. Family and more sunshine, lots of peace, more peace in our life. And I want to be around people that are supportive and like-minded and think positively and uplifting. And I really want to have a support system that you can really connect with, heart to heart, soul to soul. And always more self-care. I want to take better care of myself, more water and more moving my body and more healthy foods. I want to spend more time in nature, more love, more peace, more abundance, feeling abundant. And so how about you? There we go. Choosing more time at the lodge. Yeah. Friends and family and friends' family. Yeah. That's great. And sometimes we have to let go of what we feel is good in order to have that greatness in our life and in our business. So what would you be choosing to put in your box if you could choose anything you wanted? Anything that you desired, what would you go in your box? More time, more time. And so when we get our box full and it's overflowing, it's bursting at the seams and all the goodness is coming out. Courage, that's a good one, Jean. I like that. So when we get our box full, we're going to choose to wrap it a little bit differently. So we're going to choose the most luxurious, beautiful paper that you've ever seen. And it's going to be thick paper and it's going to be beautiful, whatever that is for you. But just imagine how you're going to wrap that box up. And so my paper would be roses, red roses that are open, and hydrangeas and peonies and pinks and blues and purples with some paisley on there. And it feels really thick when you fold it. It doesn't crinkle, it doesn't rip, it doesn't tear. And I wrap up this box in this beautiful, beautiful wrapping paper. And on the top of this box, I put this amazing, great, big, white, fluffy bow. It's organza and it's standing up and it's beautiful. And that's the box that I want to take with me wherever I go. And I carry it around with me, and it's light and it feels really good. And it's full of all the exciting and amazing things that I want to be experiencing in my life. All of the people and all of the joy and all of the customers and team and teammates and people and all the greatness that I want to be experiencing. And when I see this box and look at it, I get really, really excited. I get excited to get started. I get excited to be involved in such an amazing thing. And I remember Jay saying, and probably one of our taglines, when we feel well, we live well. And that's so true. So when we can create this amazing life and have a vision for our future, it really helps us to live better. And then we start to feel better. We feel well, we live well. And our thoughts and our life and everything that we create inside of it affects our wellness, affects our quality of life, and then it also affects the people around us. So when we're living a great life, it really helps the people around us to know that they can do that too. So I guess it's all about choices. It's all about um, taking the time to make those choices and decisions and doing things differently and acknowledging what fears we might have that come up, because it's always about knowing what we want. And often that layer of fear, that wall of fear comes up to just keep us stuck to where we are. But we know that, we can experience a great life and a different life, and there is greatness. God wants us to live a great life here and share that with so many people. So we do have that choice, and it really is a choice once we can look at that way. And sometimes we just have to ask. And not every day is a good day, not every day is a great day, and some of us struggle with health and other issues. So if there's anyone here that needs support, I would love to chat with you. If I can't support you directly, I can certainly refer you to someone that would. I'm sure Terry would feel the same way. If anyone out there needs some help, just sometimes we just have to ask in this super safe place where we're around people that we love and love us. So that is the end of my presentation. I'd love to hear if anyone has anything in their box that they'd like to share, or how they wrap up their box, or maybe this may help you to make some different choices in how we live our life.
Yeah, Judy, I'll go first. I think, one of the things that Jean Poirier said as well is, sometimes we act like we're not fearful.
Yeah.
And we put on a facade sometimes, and you do that to try and have your game face on. But I believe that fear can be leveraged, and it's a little bit different. I mean, if I look at pro athletes, and this may resonate with my dear friend Kevin Duguay, people change fear, and they manipulate the fear into something that makes them powerful. So an athlete takes his fear and turns it into confidence. And it's not easy to do, but they go into a game, if every athlete was afraid, which they are at times,
Mm-hmm.
and if they don't transition it into confidence, then it can be detrimental. And so what I try to do with my fear, and I have that fear in my box sometime, because I'm always cognitive of have I hurt somebody, when
Mm.
talking to them. I'm fearful, not necessarily of the presentation but have I offended somebody? And so I never want to do that. But I try to change that fear into confidence in what I'm doing. And so in order to get that confidence in what I'm doing, I practice and I study my product and I go through my back office and I spend time at this so that that fear can be minimized. But every time I even get on this call, I'm nervous. You know, I get on the call tonight and for whatever reason, it won't let me share them to the Facebook page. Well,
Oh,
I didn't want to interrupt the page or I didn't want to interrupt the call. And for whatever reason, when I go in to share, it will only let me share to my own timeline. Well, I'm not going to share it to my own timeline. So that's one of the things that I struggle with is fear of offending somebody. And so in order to overcome that, I try to be good at what I do so that I have a confidence level that is a quiet confidence that covers up that fear. And so that's what I work on constantly.
yeah. Yeah, and it's really a work in progress because it takes a lot of awareness to recognize what you're thinking about and that pattern in your thoughts that, oh, that there's that thought again. Well, there's that thought again. You know, I need to dig deep. So yeah, it takes a lot of time, takes a lot of awareness to change.
Yeah, and I think it's that, you know, like you and I spoke earlier today, and you know, we both are nervous. I said, I'm nervous
Yeah,
too, going on this call
yeah,
because I want to provide value for people.
yeah,
And I want to do a good job for people. And so you get that little bit of fear going in, you know, and I think it's like, well, once you get rolling, as I said, once we
yeah,
get rolling, we'll be fine, Judy. Once
yeah,
we get rolling, it's kind of like when you know, are doing a presentation and you know, I'm sure anybody that's presented in front of a crowd before is nervous when you start, but once you get rolling, it's fine. Like nobody wants to go to the gym that often, but once you get to the gym and you get rolling, man, it's a great
yeah,
workout and you enjoy it.
yeah,
So,
yeah,
so that's kind of my experience for sure. So
yeah, yeah.
anyone
How
else,
that
we'd love to
mind.
hear from you.
Judy?
Hi,
Judy?
hi, Darlene.
Hi, Judy. I understand people being fearful, especially when they're new in the business,
Yeah.
about talking to others about what we have. And the one thing I would say is you have to get a story.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and but if you're someone that you don't have any stress in your life, you know, you don't have any aches and pains, you're not falling or any of that stuff, then what you want to do is find someone else. And don't be afraid to say, Judy, I noticed that, you know, you've been really stressed out lately. Here is a package of peace patches. I'd like you to take them. I'm not charging you for them. I want you to take them and start wearing them every day. And just share with me what you notice. Okay. But with, like, for me, I have amazing stories. You know, I have the story of my son, Brian,
Mm-hmm.
how the Defend patch put him into remission with his Crohn's disease. I tell people about that all the time. I must repeat that story 3 or 4 times a week. And, you know, it's a matter of getting, you know, sharing a story with someone.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And if you don't have a story of your own, then you borrow someone else's, right? But we do have
Yeah.
to be forward. Yeah, we kind of have to just fight that fear off and do it anyways and just go out and share because we sure have something that can help so many people.
Yep.
Yeah.
Great point. Thank you so much for
Judy,
sharing, Darlene. That's awesome.
I really enjoyed because I love this kind of work too, but the vision part of it is so, like somebody mentioned, it was so calming and peaceful as you walked us through that. Because I think sometimes we're so busy and running and we don't stop to think about what we're carrying in our box. And
Yeah.
I want to thank you for that, because sometimes we just think, oh, I know how to do this stuff. But when I think about really the things that are in my box, I'm going to really ponder that. That was amazing. And when you
Thanks,
said
Carol.
the sandpaper, it's like we carry things in our box. We do not like how they feel.
Yeah.
And we just don't know. And when you said to like, let it go in the wind,
Mhm.
I love your vision words. I really, really appreciate it.
Thanks,
Because
Carol.
I used to always think I don't need a vision board. I'll write out,
Yeah.
like the pictures and things. I just write words. I'm more of a words than pictures. But I really got a clear confidence in how that vision of something in that box.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think with vision, you really have to visualize it, see it, but it's also that emotion and feeling that goes along with it.
Mhm.
So I'm glad you got that. And, as far as the
Mhm.
box go, I think we carry a lot that isn't ours.
Yes.
Yeah.
When you said that, how much we carry that is not ours.
Yeah. And it's heavy. It's heavy stuff.
Mhm.
So we
Mhm.
need to let it go in the my mom used to say that all the time. You need to let that go in the wind. So let's let that go in the wind.
Well, your mom did a good job of making you a visionary, because that was
Yeah.
very powerful.
Yeah.
Because once we only carry what God wants us to carry and the things He wants, then we're so much more, we can bless
Yeah.
more people. We're just better.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah. Yeah. It gets lighter.
yeah.
Yeah.
I felt lighter as you were just speaking in this small bit of time. It took a bunch of notes. So
Oh, good.
thank you very much.
Yeah.
It's really
Thanks,
good.
Carol.
Good
Mhm.
point, Carol. Yes.
Yeah.
Decent. Paul Vandeven, please unmute.
Yeah, this is great, Judy. And, it reminds me of a habit I got into, probably over a year, maybe a year and a half ago now. And that is that, the first thing I do in the morning is, I'm on a call on a Zoom where we do a meditation. And part of that meditation is every single day is visualization.
Mm.
And, I can't tell people how much it has changed the way my day starts when I take the time to, visualize what it is I want.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how each day it can be different, because it's different because you're different every morning that you wake
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
You're not exactly the same person. And
Yeah.
the whole thing of wrapping up the box and are you using onion paper, or are you using something that's good and solid, that's not going to rip and to shreds by the
Yeah.
end of the day? So
Yeah. No, we want
really
to make it
appreciate
beautiful.
this.
Yeah. We want to make it beautiful. Thanks, Paul.
So thank you.
Thanks, Paul. Great point. Kevin Dugay.
Thanks, Judy. That was awesome.
You're welcome.
I appreciate what you say, about what you put in your box and growing and learning. And I'll share an analogy in regards to, like where we all start, like in Vox Life / Super Patches. We all start as rookies and
Mhm.
we think we're supposed to know it all. And I'll give you an analogy because that's what I like to do. So I got to go visit my granddaughter who just got this little pink scooter. Now, if I think back to when we all started in Super Patch, if we all drove the scooter like my granddaughter did, you'd be a one-day wonder and you'd be out of the business forever, because no matter how wide that sidewalk is, she could not keep that scooter on the sidewalk. It could be like 60 feet wide. She's gonna find the gutter. She just magically goes to the ditch. And so you just pull the kid back in line and put it in the middle of the road and keep your head up and got the little helmet on and don't hit people and don't run over dogs and keep going, and you find a ditch again. And she was determined to figure this thing out. So next day, second day visit, the first thing in the morning, I want to go back out on the scooter. And it was amazing. In one day, how much better she still found the ditch. Don't get me wrong. The side was a bit wider, but she didn't find it as frequently.
Yeah.
But she didn't quit. Like, and she didn't give up. And she says, I am determined. I get to go see her like in 3.5, 4 weeks. So I'm wondering, I can't wait to see this report card. I go, hey, Gramps, watch this, man. I like a steady Eddie, like right down the middle. And why? Because just like you talked about, where you get rid of the, I'm going to quit. I can't do this. I'm not good
Yeah.
enough. And I think back to Sainer when he talked about that room for improvement, that we all think we're going to be like instant experts and going, no, man, you are learning for the rest of your life
Yeah.
in this
Yeah.
journey. And your box picture I got is almost adding and I'm taking out.
Yeah.
The box is in continual flow.
Yeah.
It's like, because there's new things coming and going. And it's like cleaning out the house once a year. You may do it more frequently, but it's like remodeling, trying to find the right ingredients in that box. And even then, it's always going to keep changing. So it's okay to change. In fact, my last thing is that's where I learned. Learning is about growth through challenges. And it's like sandpaper, right? It's tough, but it smooths out the edges.
Yeah.
But you got to be persistent with it.
Yeah.
You got to be persistent with the sandpaper for it to work. If you say, it's going to work by itself. No, I got to put some effort.
Yeah.
And I put the effort in and I get around the right environment. And all of a sudden that, the sandpaper does its job in a different way. So anyways, just want to share that. So don't quit.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a marathon, not a sprint, right? Life. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Thanks,
I think
Kevin.
that's a great point that Kevin makes, Judy. It's kind of like, the 7 bad spirits removed from the house. Well, you got to fill it back up with something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, if you're getting, as Kev says, as your bigger box is removing some of the smaller gritty boxes, and you remove those, it's very important, I think, to fill that box up at times with more positive things that maybe don't make the box as heavy, makes the same size box lighter than it would if you still had the burdensome smaller boxes that are covered in sandpaper. I think it's important that if you remove something that you replace it with something that's better. And so that's a great point, Duke. So so we're right at our time now. Judy, that was spectacular. Very calming, very encouraging, and I knew it would be great as always. And I think everybody here enjoyed it, and I hope everybody took something away. And if this brought you to a thought process of what you think that maybe you could share on this call at our Monday night meeting place, please reach out. I'd love to get you in the schedule for our Monday night training. If you have something to contribute, we'd all love to hear from you, as Judy has done. And I apologize last week about, or the week prior, about the technical screw up. I had set up these meetings as recurring meetings. And so Paul, when he went in to use my site, because it showed a different IP address, they send me a code while I was up on stage presenting at a meeting, and they were trying to get my attention because they needed the code, and it was sent to my phone, and my phone was in my top pocket and it was shut off. So by the time we got to it, I guess it was just so we learned something anyway. So I took that bad box out of my box now, so I know what to do with that one now. So anyways, I'm just going to stop the recording